Hey, it's Venus Friday, and I am Madam Oracle. This week, I think I have a really cool conversation piece for us to get into. I want to talk about what happens when sex magic goes wrong. So, I made a list of 3 things that I've noticed typically occurs with people, and I'll primarily be speaking on the female experience when we just don't know how to protect ourselves, when we don't go into sex magic with any type of expectations or security or, guidelines, taboos, safety measures, and precautions. And let's just hop right into it. So, first things first, I'm going to define what sex magic is to me. And it's really simple. Sex magic is a ritualistic experience where partners engaged in adult activities use, their ingenuity, their sensual prowess in order to create a desired outcome. Now, that outcome, it may be for physical results. Some people would like to have orgasmic pleasure, hedonistic pleasure. Look up what hedonism is. It may be for spiritual experiences. Some people do not tap into their spiritual identity or their spiritual aspects unless it's through a sexual means, believe it or not. And then there are people that use its metaphysical principles for manifestation and creating this really pleasurable life, or bringing something from an unseen space and being able to use sex and all of the things that are involved with that and materializing it. So some people will use sex magic for a house or a car or money. Others will use it to, feel at one with the divine. Some will use it to center into themselves. But either way, it's a calibrated and intentional experience. Now, for some people, it might use candles, it might utilize music, it might utilize breath work, but in every experience, it always is going to take vulnerability, transparency, a trusted partner, right? For you to have this really free flowing experience. And then you being able to learn how to use your sensual self and identity to guide you and your lover or your lovers into a more divine indulgence, honey. And it is beautiful. But what I always say is that it's not something that you can just share with anybody. To me personally, sex magic is one of those experiences where you have to have full trust. It has to be beautiful in that you can see the soul of your partner because you're exposing your soul. While I know that lust-driven sex with a stranger can accelerate your ritual outcomes, I'm not promoting that, baby. Here's one of the things that I have found that usually occurs with people that participate in sex magic or even tantra sex. And I definitely want to let it be known that I'm speaking on sex magic, but because I'm a sensual person, it may come across like I'm speaking on tantra, but I'm not. So one of the things that I realized is that mental health and trying to control people is one of those symptoms that occurs because, believe it or not, even though this may be a transparent experience, if you don't have a healthy, level-headed, pragmatic, sense of being, you can develop an unhealthy attachment style to your partner, to your lover, and that can be a little costly because, people become aggressive. People think that you're their property. People want to think all of a sudden that the rules go out the window because rules are important. Rules are important. Consent is important. They think that because a great experience was had, that everything that was discussed beforehand, as it should have been, goes outside of the window because now their emotions are all open and they're feeling something that they never have felt before. And this is why I say it's important to be with someone that you kind of have already had an experience with, or at least some sort of intimate conversation, because you want to be able to express what has happened during the learning experience. You want to be able to disengage from the person in a healthy manner and go about your life if you're not in a committed partnership. I'm somebody that believes in partnership. I love it. I love the intimacy. But as an adult, you know you are entitled to have the experience that you desire to co-create, right? And so I would just tell you to be careful out there, because there are a lot of unhinged people. There's just no other way to put it. People are walking around as if everybody belongs to them, and they can create an environment that can be unsafe for you afterwards. Stalking, domestic violence, and all the things that can go into that. So I noticed that it's always great to have a level-headed conversation, have a check-off list, look for warning signs, look at the body language, because the body tells everything and the body keeps score. I used to have a womb wellness lounge, and I will tell you this, that women are more spiritual than I think they actually give themselves credit for being, right? There are women out here who are whole sibyls and oracles and prophetesses who don't even know. But because they refuse to really become one with themselves, but hand themselves over to a lover, sometimes sex magic, when it goes so right, it goes wrong, will lead a woman to be further emotionally or mentally unstable. Now, what that does for her spiritually and metaphysically is that it triggers a frenzied state. And so it may seem like, we call it being digmatized or, crazy, but that's not always the case. Sometimes, because she has not done her womb work, which is womb meditations or doing cleanses monthly, such as V-steaming, yoni steaming, and has not created or cultivated a relationship with her womb, she doesn't understand that sexual experience has tapped certain aspects of her that are actually living within the entity of her womb. And because of that, she's walking around a little crazy, a little phased by everything. And so, ladies, I want to tell you, get yourself in order, because there's so much more to you. Lastly, have you ever heard the phrase, "They sucked my soul outside of my body"? I want to know, did you get it back? Okay, because that's a thing. Now, the spirit and the soul are two very different entities, but they are integrated on some level. And I want to let you know that as somebody who is a spiritual practitioner and who has had her own experiences, let me just say this, that you don't need to have a phallic experience in order to go loop-de-loop. Ladies, let me tell you, you in these women-only relationships, you are out here being soul-sucked crazy, and you know it. So let me just tell you this, because I am running out of time. There are certain maneuvers that you can do to protect yourself. First things first, here's what I do, because people can literally suck the essence out of your body. That's not a joke. I will tell you of certain experiences if you want. Let me know. I will tell you. But there are certain things that you can do to protect yourself. When I'm engaging in intentional sex magic, I'm always by myself before activities are occurring. I am protecting myself in prayer. I am asking my ancestors for help. I am affirming myself. And when it's time for sensual pleasure, I am cutting off energy or moving my body a certain way when I feel me start to disassociate from my body. Does that make sense? It should. What I want to tell you is this. Sex magic is a great thing and an awesome tool in elevating yourself, but you should always be careful and always be aware of who you're with. If this helped you out, or if there's anything you want to add, as always, leave it below. I love you, and I'll see you next time.